Thank you for joining us on First Chapter Friday for the reading of the first chapter of The Case of the Watery Grave, written by Anne Schraff. Anson Ledyard, a computer multimillionaire, has vanished. Is his young wife responsible? Or maybe it's his eldest son who is afraid he would lose his inheritance? Ledyard's luxury car turns up in a crocodile-infested swamp. Bob Pasquale of the Drake Detective Agency sets out to investigate. Chapter 1. The mysterious accident had been in all the papers. Bob Pasquale had been working for Drake Detective Agency for about a year then. Anson Ledyard, a millionaire computer businessman, had vanished. A week later, his Lexus had been found submerged under 10 feet of water in a Florida swamp. But the man's body was missing. Since the driver's side door was open, the police speculated that the millionaire must have been thrown from the car. And because the swamp was infested by crocodiles, Ledyard was presumed dead. But heavy rains had hit the area right after the accident. That made it entirely possible that Ledyard's body had been carried off into one of the many surrounding waterways. And then, of course, there were always the hungry crocodiles. The case file was sitting on Bob's desk. Tommy Drake, Bob's boss, was an ex-cop. A pair of bullets in his leg had forced early retirement, but the man still had detective work in his blood. Now Tommy stood before Bob and explained the situation. The insurance company wants an independent investigation of Ledyard's disappearance. There is a whole lot of insurance money at stake, Tommy said. So, Bob, my man, we're going to have to do some unusual investigating, if you get my meaning. I don't think I do, Tommy, Bob said. Tommy Drake was around 40, a handsome, athletic man with a flair for gangster-style clothes and hot music. He didn't seem all that much removed from Bob's generation, although he was 16 years older than his assistant. Tommy leaned forward, heavy gold chains clanking around the neck of his black turtleneck sweater. Ledyard's wife is your age, Bob, so you're the one to get close to the lady. I've pulled some strings, and you'll start showing up at some of the parties the lady attends. It seems that she's quite a party animal. You're going to be listening for clues, trying to find out if she had something to do with her husband's watery demise. You figure maybe she put a hit on him? Bob asked. Could be. The Lexus lost its brakes at a real bad time. Was it a coincidence that it happened at a curve in the road with nothing ahead but swamp and snapping turtles? Tommy asked. Maybe, maybe not. What you're going to be doing is priming your antennas to check the lady out. Is she grieving? Is she glad the old man was off? Who knows? They might have been in on the accident together. Could be old Anson is off in some remote Shangri-La, waiting for the big insurance settlement and their romantic reunion. Tommy smiled. He almost always had a smile on his face. Bob smiled back. He really liked his boss. Everyone said that Tommy had been a great cop in his day. The man had gotten all kinds of commendations from the police department. Then a string of daylight jewelry store robberies had terrorized the city. Tommy ran the stakeout that netted the thieves. The crooks turned out to be cold-blooded killers. They had already murdered one jeweler, so the news stories had called Tommy Drake a hero. Bob figured that shadowing Mrs. Ledyard wouldn't be too hard to take. Hanging out with the rich would be a nice change from his ordinary life. Right now, he was taking college classes in the hopes of someday becoming a lawyer. His part-time job here at the detective agency was giving him some good experience. The flexible hours were great, and the pay kept him in pizzas and blue jeans. Usually, Bob would be investigating employee thefts from stores or trailing after unfaithful spouses. This would be his first case involving a possible murder. It was pretty exciting. Tommy gave Bob some upfront money so he could dress up for his new role. He was supposed to act the part of a rich but idle young man, newly arrived in the city. Bob got a big kick out of buying several pieces of expensive new slacks and shirts. That night he met his girlfriend for dinner. "Don't let this go to your head," Jerry McNeil said as they ate their tacos. Bob grinned. "Hey, it's just a job, Jerry," he said a little defensively. "Yeah, right," Jerry went on. "Driving a sports car your boss rented for you and going to fancy parties every night and kissing up to what's her name? Poopsie Ledyard. What a tough job it is to spend time with an incredible model whose glorious face and figure have been on at least 60 magazine covers." "The lady's name isn't Poopsie," Bob laughed. "It's Kelly, and we don't know what the deal is with her. For all we know, she might be a grieving widow who just wants a shoulder to cry on." "Yeah, I'm sure she's just all broken up that her creaky old 50-ish husband died and left her with $1 billion, Jerry scoffed. "Come on, you're sounding like a cynic, Jerry," Bob scolded. "Wouldn't you be jealous? I'm stuck in a dumb job coaching lazy students to use computers, and you're going off to glamorous parties to flirt with a supermodel," Jerry grumbled. "Look, Jerry, usually I'm following some slob down a dirty alley so we can get proof that he's cheating on his wife. Give me a break," Bob said. "Yeah, but this time you hit pay dirt," Jerry said as she sipped some soda. "You're a cute guy, Bob, but do you really expect this babe to melt from your charms? You think she'll confess that she had her husband killed?" "Of course not. I'm just looking for some clues to point us in the right direction," Bob said. Jerry looked over at Bob as they pulled up in front of her apartment building. "Anson Ledyard was mega rich, Bob. He must have given his wife a great life. And don't forget that she earned great money on her own." "Why would she kill the guy for his insurance?" Jerry asked. "I haven't a clue. That's what I'm supposed to find out," Bob said as he kissed her goodnight. Bob lived in a small apartment near the college. His parents owned a nice house in Butterfield, a small farming town about 600 miles away. Bob's dad had wanted his son to join him in the family business, but Bob couldn't see himself spending his life stuck on a little burg like Butterfield. Before he went to bed, he glanced at a few magazines featuring Kelly's photos. There was no doubt about it. She was a totally gorgeous creature. He grinned wryly at her picture and said, "Hey, baby, why don't you give it up right now? Tell old Bob the truth. Did you send your old man out to swim with the crocodiles?" We hope you enjoyed the first chapter of The Case of the Watery Grave during DeSoto Library's First Chapter Friday reading celebration. You can find out what happens next by checking the book out from your school library or reading the ebook online.